You are now watching Footy Prime, the podcast, hosted by Danny Dicchio, Craig Forrest, and James Sharman.
We know, Danny, you've got a really important meeting to get to. We'll get through this as quickly as possible. It's Footy Prime, everyone. Hello, I'm James Sharman. Exciting times here because pretty sure that by the time this goes to air, someone will have been fired in the Premier League. Not that it will make this dated, but it will probably make this dated. It won't, I'm just kidding. Danny Dicchio is here. Hey, Deech. You don't look dated. Actually, you do look dated wearing the Peaky Blinders hat. And that's a compliment, by the way.
No, this is just a flat cap.
Peaky Blinder.
Yeah, people always call it Peaky Blinder.
I know, but
I've
you were
been
wearing it before.
flat cap since I lost my hair at 20.
You were wearing it before Tommy fucking Shelby came to
What
the
was
scene.
Shelby?
Now, Craig Forrest is currently above us in the clouds somewhere, as Danny was a couple of weeks ago. But this time, Craig's off to Vancouver. So to fill his spot, I'm very excited to bring back a very special young man.
young man.
Who I worked with for many, many years. I don't know how many podcasts we've done together, but it's a hell of a lot over the years. It's the face of Sportsnet Central. It's Brendan Dunlop. B, welcome to Footy Prime.
That's a special intro, James. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And actually, when you started talking about firings before the end of the show, I thought you were talking about me.
Well, I tell you what, since I was cast off into redundancy, you've got all the Prime soccer gigs now, so you're welcome.
I will say that I've benefited from all of your hard work and all of your ideas pitched that still remain spiked on the floor. I've absolutely benefited from that with 2 soccer trips in a week.
Orlando and Seattle.
And Seattle, yeah. It was really cool from a professional perspective and fandom, obviously. Soccer's my baby, always has been, so to be able to get back and do some of it, although the results weren't what Canada wanted, it was pretty cool to be there and cover
You
it.
did a great job, B.
Thanks,
I
pal.
enjoyed the
Appreciate
reports. And when Sportsnet get the Premier League back and the Champions League, again, you're welcome.
And Villa will be relegated.
Yeah.
I'm really happy
several
that we're
years.
recording this before they play this match week because then we can completely avoid them and I can be positive.
We'll find a way to find a little pathway to Villa and what's happened so
I
far.
have a feeling it'll get there.
I had to apologise if I'm a little bit weary sounding. I came off the Buffalo Bills trip yesterday. My first time to see a Bills game in, it's got to be 20 years. I tell you what, that is some party. It's a lot of fun.
How were the Bills Mafia?
They were, you know what?
8-3 now.
Yeah.
You know what? They actually changed the whole tailgating situation there. So it used to be, I guess you can park anywhere. Right now they got sectioned areas, right?
Yeah.
And we got a bus down, about 25 of us, into this tented area, really well organised. But the chaos and mayhem that I've heard about and seen on YouTube wasn't quite as evident, as much as it was a lot of fun. But I tell you, that's how you do sports. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
You
And
didn't
now
go
I'm paying for
swan
it.
diving through a big bathtub
No.
of butter or anything?
No.
That's what I was anticipating.
I tell you what, my first beer was cracked at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And my last one was cracked about 7:30 at night. It's a long day.
I couldn't believe that's when you were texting me at 7:30. I said, "Where are you on the bathroom floor at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo?" I was surprised you made it back.
Well, my text is coherent.
Surprisingly, but you speak like someone who hangs out with all the grime rappers. It's like,
Well,
because
clearly.
he texted me and it was like, "Bruv, 9:15 to Mazza." I'm like, what does that mean?
I don't think I said bruv.
No, you probably said B, but
B,
it
I think.
auto-corrected to
I'm not a
bruv.
bruv kind of guy. It's just, it doesn't flow out of my mouth.
Do you take a lot of notes in your phone, whether you use Google or Siri? If you take notes in your phone and then
yeah.
you correct it, it learns like the way you speak. So when I would watch Premier League matches and we would do the podcast, I was always taking notes. And it saves in Siri's memory for years. So I'll go to text my wife, "Hey, what do you want to do for lunch?" And it comes out, "What do you want to do with Lukaku up front?" And it's definitely, I thought by now that she'd forget that.
Siri has no idea what I'm talking about. as do many of our listeners and you two involved as well. So
I understand
let's
you,
just
Beach.
leave it there.
I understand you as well.
The worst, as an
Thank you.
Englishman
You two
from
are
the
nice.
south, the worst word I've experienced in Canada is water.
Oh, my
Because
God.
it's the most frustrating word because you're at a restaurant, "Can I have some water?" "Sorry, sir, what?" "Can I have some water?" "What's some what? Some whiskey? Some water."
Yeah.
It's the most, isn't it? That's the
when I
word.
first came to Toronto, that was one of my most embarrassing experiences in Chinatown, because coming from England, we love
One of them.
Chinese
There's
food.
been a few apparently.
So we went to Chinatown, and as a family, we sat around the table, and it took us longer to order like a pint of water than it did for the actual menu. In the end, I basically had to say H2O to the waitress,
And still didn't get it
and
because
she
it should be
still
H2O.
like it was embarrassing to say the least. And even in Starbucks, I tried to say, well, I had to give Starbucks a push here, but every time I order a tall flat white, they have no idea what I'm talking
Nobody
about.
knows what a flat white is over here.
I know, but no, they don't understand tall. They're like, two? I said, no,
yeah,
tall.
It's a water. Tall is the A is a troublesome letter.
Good,
right, clearly.
because I'm beginning to think it was me.
No, it's not you.
Okay, thank
It's idiots behind the desk at Starbucks.
you. The baristas.
Although we should mention, can you get a single shot there, Dan, on me? Can you cut across, right? Yeah.
Oh, we're going to isolate you?
Footy Prime brought to you by Starbucks. I'm just saying, we need sponsors, and Starbucks would be all right,
Just
wouldn't
at
it?
the original Starbucks in Seattle a couple of weeks ago, weren't we,
Yeah,
Danny?
that
Did
was.
you go there?
I've been to that one before. I
Yeah.
didn't go this time, but I've just found Seattle was crawling with more tourists than usual.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big weekend. It was a big event.
It's a
people
cool
came
city,
from all
Seattle,
over.
actually, yeah?
Very cool city. Yeah, yeah. It's a real like American Vancouver
Kind of
to me.
hipster, yeah.
Yeah, and the city's changed a lot. I went a few years ago. This was literally just 4 years ago, and I was staying downtown and walking towards the stadium. And anyone who's ever been to Seattle, the pier is on the waterfront, and downtown's kind of in the middle. And I'd already been to the pier and the famous fish market.
Yeah.
And walking to the Mariners game, it kept directing me to go back to the water. And I thought, no, I'm going to stay in this downtown spot. Like, I want to see what the rest of downtown looks like. Very Bay Street-like, but just see it out. Google Maps constantly redirecting me right. Like, why would I get there? And then I get to the end of this Bay Street district, and literally it is The Walking Dead in front of me. All of a sudden, if you've seen The Wire, it's Amsterdam.
Is
I've
it?
stumbled into Amsterdam.
It's Jarvis and Queen.
There's a lot of homeless people.
Sherborne
there
and
as
Queen.
well.
Turn to the right and go straight to the water. And then I was walking back from the stadium through this area, all suited and booted with Christian and Stephen Caldwell, our friends from the Three Letter. And they were walking in this direction. I said, "Oh, guys, you don't want to go that way." They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "No, there's like a bad area in the middle here. Like, we don't want to keep walking this way." They're like, "We just came this way. The trophy's over there. The trophy's over there." And I walk into this neighborhood that they've completely gentrified, and it was the pop-in neighborhood for the Fan Fest there. So
Fantastic.
Seattle's changed around a lot.
I'm pretty
Very
sure
cool
if
city.
you're walking anywhere with Caldwell, you'll feel pretty safe.
Yeah, good point.
So we're going to start each week picking a word of the week, and that'll be the theme. Okay, so this
Is it
week,
water this week?
Well, yeah, it's water. Water. No, the word this week is loyalty. Something you know nothing about, Brendan, having left the footy show, and left this in the lurch all those years ago to go to this new show at Sportsnet. How did that work out for you? Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. But the word is loyalty. So I want to just I mentioned off the top there about there could be firings, right? So Silva's on the hot seat, Manuel Pellegrini's on the hot seat. There's so many. There was change last week, of course, with Mourinho and Poch screwing us over just as we finished the podcast. But
I felt bad for you guys.
who's most likely to screw us today that we get off air and he's been fired, do you think, in the Premier League?
Well, odds-on favourite is Marco Silva.
It's going to be him?
You lose at home to a relegation-bound team, Norwich, 2-0, and a terrible performance where I like Marco Silva as a coach, but I just don't think he can get his grip on what he's trying to achieve at Everton. I don't know whether the players are buying into it. The big problem is that he spent nearly 100 million plus in the off-season. They finished 6th last year, I think 6th or 7th last year, which was pretty good, and the fans expected them to kick on and challenge for maybe a Europa place, but even there was talks about a Champions League place, but it just hasn't materialised. And I think when you look at what Everton want to achieve, they brought in big owners that overtook the club, that bought it off of Bill Kenwright, and they're expecting to challenge at the top. They spent a lot of money. They got Richarlison, who they spent 70 million plus on. A fortune on. They just haven't gelled as a team. And even you look at the boy they brought in from Juventus, Moises Ken, who just hasn't scored a goal yet or hasn't looked right. And you just think there's been some suspect buys there, which hasn't helped Marco Silva's cause. But I really can't see him lasting much longer.
Yeah, modern gambles, right? And the new ownership group, I think that, has put a lot of pressure on Silva and a lot of pressure on the club too. Seeing, the success that Liverpool's having across the street. I know it's the friendly rivalry, but when your next door neighbor is rolling up in Porsches and living the extravagant life, you feel that you should be there too, and maybe your expectations that were realistic for a long time that change overnight, and you can spend the money to purchase some high-profile players. When Moise Kean went there, I thought, man, a few years ago, that's a player like Villa would have been after, and if they could have landed
kind
him.
of Lukaku, where you think would really dominate this league.
He just hasn't worked out at all, which is unfortunate. Obviously, I'm hugely biased, and I want every Portuguese person in football to succeed immensely. But I do think that Marco Silva might be out of it, and it seems as though, at Watford too, he kind of lost his way a little bit, and then it seemed he flirted with the Everton job, and somehow couldn't get the team.
It's
to buy
like
in
he
again.
has a message that he wants to portray to the players, and a philosophy that he wants to portray to the players, and hopefully they buy into it. But that message only lasts for so long. And I go back to Sir Alex Ferguson, who was a really stubborn, disciplined head coach. But he knew when this new generation of players, a la Cristiano Ronaldo and the likes of the younger generation coming through, he had to change as a head coach. Mm-hmm. He had to change with the times. And I don't know if Marco Silva's that way, but he has a clear philosophy, even from back in his days where he done really well with Estoril in Europa League.
Your accent is
Estoril.
incredible.
Estoril.
It's improved immensely.
Well, I've had pastel de nata, which is one of my favourite desserts, as you know. That's why I've put on a couple of pounds. But
He's just kissing up to the Portuguese audience.
Going
right now.
back on a tandem here, but I just feel that maybe that message has been lost with this group of players. And
But he hasn't been there very long, though. I mean, I understand.
Nearly a
We
year
talk
and a
about
half.
veteran managers. Mourinho, for example, being a prime example, has his message been lost? And the modern football does it work? Silva's just a young coach.
Yeah.
Right? Is this like just Andre Villas-Boas all over again?
You smart man that swoons the bosses, you mean, and swoons the public. but
Exactly,
can't
right?
really
And then gets into
control
the
room
car
and keep
rally
hold of
when
the
his
room.
career fails.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's similar, right? I mean, he comes, he looks great, says all the right things, he's slick, and he has a couple of good years somewhere, and then something happens, like you said.
But it's interesting that Mourinho's come out this week and prior to his first game against West Ham, where they got that much-needed win, that first away win of the season for Spurs, that he come out and said that maybe he needs to adjust as a coach.
No shit, Jose.
So he has a philosophy. We all know that he likes to park the bus at times and be a little bit more defensive-minded, but he's got a wealth of attacking talent at Spurs that he needs to kind of let the reins go a little bit. So he'll be vilified if they become a defensive team. Spurs
But
can
this weekend,
defend.
she leaves Eriksen out, has his two defensive midfielders in there again, different formation.
Dyer played, and Dyer looked really out of shape, I've got to say, but he was after Dyer for a long time when he was at Manchester United.
yeah.
So he's a player that he's going to bring in, and he's going to play a lot of games. But I felt it was refreshing that Mourinho said maybe it's my command has to be a little bit more flexible, and I have to adjust my plans a little bit, because all the teams I've managed have their own positives. They have players that play in a different way, which we all know. Teams play in a different way, players play in a different way. But when a coach goes in, he has to implement his style. And Mourinho is a known winner, we know that. But in these last two probably clubs that he's managed at, he hasn't
Adapted.
adapted really well to what the team needs.
Yeah.
He's gone in there stubborn, in his old kind of stubborn way, and said, no, this is the way I'm going to handle the media. And I think that's kind of snowballed a little bit and caused him even more frustration when things haven't been working on the field.
This time he's also brought in a different staff, right? Support staff around him.
Nuno
which
Santos,
is
who's
really
with Canada,
important.
by the way.
Sorry?
Nuno Santos, who's with Canada as a goalkeeping coach for 3 or 4 years.
Is
He
he a
works with
Tony
our
guy?
younger players. He's the goalkeeping coach at Spurs now. He came from Lille with the assistant coach.
Really?
Oh.
Really
Impressive.
good guy.
Yeah, interesting. But I mean, that's important, right? And even from the translators to this Welsh-raised Portuguese fella, I forget his name now. I forget his name.
Sacramento?
Yeah, Sacramento.
Oh.
Yeah, comes in, right? Apparently, he's never played the game. Great modern ideas. Sounds familiar. A bit like Jose Mourinho once upon a time, right?
The next Jose.
But maybe because I always thought with Jose, he's too smart not to adapt. But then over and over again, you'd see he wouldn't adapt.
Yeah.
But maybe he's finally got it because he's not an old man by any stretch. and you think you don't forget how to coach. But if you're smart enough, like you mentioned with Fergie, you change little things around you, and you keep a fresh face to the squad as well. I think under Poch, whether it's his fault or not, it was the same squad for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got to bring new faces in at some point to keep it fresh.
Well, he wanted to bring new faces in, but they just built this new stadium.
Right, so for whatever reason, though, they didn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
So now Daniel Levy's gone and hired the man who spent more money in the Premier League than anybody since Daniel Levy's been in the Premier League. So that'll be exciting. I remember you guys talking when on your segment Crisis Club about United just before they'd replaced him with Ollie, and both of you had said, or if I'm remembering correctly, that you felt that the game had passed Jose by. And that he's shown that he couldn't adapt, and that this would be the end of it. And who knew, he'd get a job somewhere, but who knew how profile it might be. And I wonder if the time away, because this is the first time really in Jose's career that he was unemployed and didn't really have a next goal. Before he left Chelsea, he wanted that United job the second time. Before they beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, he wanted to leave Inter for Real Madrid. He always had like an immediate goal that he could recognize and obsess over. And I think maybe sitting in Qatar next to Andy Gray and Richard Keys, he just thought, man, I don't want to be doing this. I've got to find a way to get back into football. And now he's stumbled in at Spurs.
He could have started a pie business.
He could have started a pie business. How come there's no breakfast pies?
Or a podcast.
Give it time, there will be.
I mean,
podcast, yeah.
All
that.
Podcast.
Right. Pie's bringing more money right now. Not much more. But
I go back to the loyalty thing, and you look at Poch now and the players that are coming out. I mean, Harry Kane, on the day that he got fired, or I think it was the day after, went round to Poch's house and spent 2 or 3 hours around there talking and just going over what he's done for him as a player. And I think that says what kind of man Pochettino was and how he developed this young group of Spurs players that have been around for a long, long time. I mean, even Dele Alli came out a couple of days ago and said it was just so sudden and disappointing because he was such a player's manager. But something was not right. When you looked at Spurs and the way they played, something was not right this season.
The energy wasn't there, was it?
The energy wasn't there. I don't know what it was. And I'm sure Pochettino's scratching his head as well, thinking, what has suddenly gone wrong with this group of players?
He tapped out late last season, didn't he? I know they got to the Champions League final and all, but
they weren't performing well
football
in the Premier League. I know that, but they still, all their eyes were on the Champions League, to be quite honest, Shams. And how they sneaked through to the Champions League final, I have no idea.
Miraculous stuff.
But they did it, and it was a fantastic achievement. But I don't know. I still think he'll get another big job. There's rumours about Bayern Munich, and maybe Bayern Munich giving him the rest of the year to just reassess, to talk to his staff, to maybe learn the language, because at Bayern Munich they want all their coaches speaking German, especially in press conferences and with the group of players. Or maybe he's actually waiting for this Manchester United job.
That's the big asterisk right now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's odds on favourite. They're 6-4 in England to take the Man United job.
If you're United right now, I mean, they don't do much right. We know that behind the scenes for a number of times now. But they keep saying we have such faith in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I don't blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for their predicament right now. I mean, what's he been given, right? That said, if a guy like Poch is available, and you know that this summer the Real Madrid job could come up, Bayern Munich could come up, big jobs where he could be lured away. Do you make the tough call and say, Ole, it just hasn't worked. There's someone better than you. And at this point, Pochettino is better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is he not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can have that conversation in the boardroom, seeing the news and not wonder if this is your moment. You've got to swoop in. And who did he replace at Southampton? Remember when Mauricio Pochettino
when he took over at Southampton?
Just flew in at Southampton.
Was it Koeman was after?
No, it was a British fellow, I think.
Oh, it was Nigel Atkins.
Nigel Atkins.
Yeah, Atkins.
Nigel Atkins, who was great and did a great job. And I remember our reaction immediately, like, who is this guy? No one's really heard of. He was great at Espanyol, and he's dressed as well. Yeah. And he comes swooping in and did a phenomenal job, obviously, and then got the Spurs job, which at the time seemed like a real step up.
Where's Nigel Atkins now?
He's at Hull, I think.
Is he doing a good job there? Any idea?
Yeah, they're doing okay.
Because, I mean, he was one of the fast-rising English managers, right?
He was like a professor type.
Yeah.
This is very weird for me to be on this side as the guest and not only have like one job. So immediately I want to go and Google it, and I just look at Danny, and Danny's got all the answers here.
I'm
He
sure
knows
he's a
every
head coach.
Portuguese coach. He knows where everybody's
You're
at.
almost irrelevant here,
This
B.
is great. Oh man, I'm so relaxed.
But let's talk
Stirring
about
my
loyalty.
coffee.
You talk about how a new manager comes and you get that bump often, right? Any experiences where you lost a manager mid-season that you didn't see coming?
No, I've never got the manager to sack, surprisingly.
Really?
But at QPR, my mentor, the late Ray Wilkins, was let go during the middle of the season, and that hurt me a lot because I grew up at QPR and Ray was a player then he was a player coach.
Did you see it coming though?
We kind of saw it coming because we got rid of Big Les Ferdinand that year, so the club were kind of in a transition moment where we had a lot of big players, Trevor Sinclair included as well, that broke into the England team, and QPR were finding it very, very difficult to keep hold of these players. Les wanted to play in the Champions League. Les wanted a little bit more money, and he felt that playing for a bigger club like Newcastle would get him that look. So QPR opted to let go of Ray, and it wasn't particularly his fault. And that was a hard time for the QPR younger players that had grown up through the system and looked up to Ray a lot. They brought in Bruce Rioch and Stuart Houston, who were a tandem at Arsenal at the time, and it totally broke everything up.
It did. Now, was that because Ray was so popular?
Ray
Even
was
though
popular.
the results weren't there.
Yep, and he spoke to people like men, where the tandem that come in from Arsenal spoke to people like boys. They were very military. You must do this.
Yeah.
Get off the field if you're not doing it. Very regimented, which didn't go down well with a lot of us London boys.
As a coach now to young players, obviously, is there one manager that you kind of base your style on, or was it a mixture of all the guys you've had?
I wouldn't say it's one particular coach. I've had the opportunity to play for a lot of good coaches. Ray, I take his tactical nous, but also the way he spoke to an individual in a calming way. And if he had to send a message, he would still be in a calm manner, but you would listen to it. Where I think I've played for coaches that berate you and try to shout through you as a person, and as a young player, you just switch off and you're not hearing that noise.
Yeah.
I had Peter Reid at Sunderland, who was a fantastic player manager as well. He knew how to get the team together as a group. He knew how to bond the team, whether you were from England or whether you're from a foreign country, and he knew how to blend a group of players to be successful. And then I also have played for 2 or 3 coaches where I've experienced certain stuff, and I would say I would never ever do that with my team. I would never implement that, whether it be a specific training session or a part of the training session, or the way they actually send a message with their players on and off the field. So it's just about experiences.
But
I'm
also,
sure
players have changed as well,
Yeah,
right?
players have changed.
Kids now are very different to 1991 when you were, coming through the systems, right?
100%, yeah. We spoke about this last week. The generation of
Can't yell.
of players coming through now. There's a way of talking to them.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't tell them that they've made a mistake, but there's a way of kind of manipulating your conversation into encouraging them as well.
It was like a certain youngster was coming through the ranks at Hardcore Sports Radio, and we had to just occasionally just yell at him and scream at him, and he'd wither in the corner.
It's amazing
and say,
how-
please just talk to me like I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I say, Brendan, listen, it's time that you grew up and started working harder if you want to make it in this.
Hold on,
this business.
Hardcore Sports Radio.
Yes,
That was the name of the station, yeah.
Was it?
On Sirius Satellite Radio.
It was a lot of fun.
Is
That's
it a
cool.
pirate
Sure got
station
its,
or
leg up there?
A what station?
pirate station?
Well, now that you mention it, there's some connections to. Oh, no, there isn't. But it was legitimate. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I mean, I don't think that I would have been as comfortable on air if not having had that experience. Obviously, working with James and Chris and Jack was incredible. I owe you guys a lot. I learned the world from you in those couple of years, but it really was a lot. It really was a lot of fun. It was completely uncensored. So that's one thing that
It's a bit like this.
trips me up on television. It's you get so comfortable and like, yeah, Martin, the Leafs just forgot how to play.
But people ask me that all the
defense
time.
there.
They say, isn't it hard not to swear on television? But it's not natural to swear on television when the lights are on there. Every now and again, you're right, that you want to emphasize something, and usually you might use an F-bomb to do that. But I never found it a challenge. But I guess you cutting your teeth on sports radio where there was no sensitivity.
Starting with it when I could. I remember
Have you ever
even
dropped
just
an F-bomb on TV?
No, I did say shit once by accident on air with you. Remember? I was
on the Fox show.
This was on the Footy Show when I was the Twitter guy. I think we were playing Avenit or not Avenit.
Oh, were we?
There was a question about Carlos Tevez, and I would propose these questions to James and KJ, and they'd take a side on it. And for the most part, you genuinely were against each other on these topics, which was
we hate
great
each
for
other.
great
That's
television.
what helps.
Hate each other as human beings, actually.
He's a bad human being. So.
And I'd had some poorly worded question that I'd written myself, and somehow I had got my tongue twisted and described a Manchester City striker, Carlos Tevez, and it came out Manchester Shitty. To which immediately I froze, and Sharman, as a great mentor and friend that he is, just died laughing. What did you say, punters? Say that. What did you say?
Repeat that?
So that I looked
A good
deadpan
host
into
would
the
just keep
camera.
quiet, and let it roll. Like Ron McLean, for example.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's fantastic. A couple of weeks, I think it was like 3 weeks prior to the MLS Cup final. I don't know if you remember Alejandro Pozuelo's interview after the game.
That's right, with KJ, actually.
No one will
KJ.
forget that, actually.
And he was like, "We have a fucking good team." live on TV.
Did it 3 times,
I
actually.
think KJ was just frozen there.
What do you
he
do?
said,
What do
"I
you
don't
do?
think you heard me, KJ. We have a fucking good team."
In fairness, they were a fucking good team.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a fucking good result as well, away at New York.
What part of Spain is he from? Wales?
Where Gareth Bale's from, yeah. That part of Madrid.
That's funny. But, you talk about loyalty within football and sports, and players and managers have loyalty. Was there ever a manager that had your back and that you could
Peter
rely on?
Reid.
It was Peter Reid, was it?
100% Peter Reid.
You never had any concern that he might be trying to sell you behind your back?
No.
He was up front
He
with
would
you?
come to me and say, "Look, there's a club that's coming for you, but you're not going anywhere." Or
Okay.
you haven't been playing much, or you've just come back from injury, you need to go out on loan and get some fitness, but you're a big part of the club. He would explain everything, and that is key to the players rallying for the head coach. And I think, I believe that's what's happening a lot now in the Premier League. You're seeing head coaches that are under a lot of pressure, and the team or the specific group of players that have been at that club for a long time not rallying around it. You look at Sean Dyche last year, where Burnley were in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Those were a group of players that play for their head coach.
And but watching them play, you knew they hadn't quit on him, right?
Yeah, you knew they haven't quit on him.
Because another club would have probably fired him, or a lot of clubs would have fired him after that bad run last year. Mm-hmm. But they stuck with him, and now look at Burnley.
And that's my big problem with Marco Silva going back to Everton, is that I look at that group of players. I look at the Arsenal performance this weekend against Southampton, where they should have lost that game 4 or 5-2. I'm looking at when they lose the ball, there's no reaction to get behind the ball or to go and repress, what we call it at TFC, or to go and try and win it back. It's just very telling for me, for a head coach that has lost a group of players. And I go back to Pochettino even. I didn't see that at Spurs, but there was something missing, something lacking. But again, Silva at Everton, I see a group of players that are not playing or not rallying around their head coach. Arsenal under Emery, I see a large group of players not rallying behind their head coach. Even Manchester United yesterday, their first half performance was so poor.
Can you still like a coach but not play for the coach?
Can you still like a coach?
Yeah, like you like the individual, like the Spurs players, I'm sure didn't dislike Pochettino, most of them, but they weren't playing for him. Is that more of a, we're not specifically not playing for that manager, but our morale is so low, we just don't enjoy our football right now, and that's coming through, as opposed to consciously saying, I'm not going to play for him.
There's all kinds of variables that could come into play, Shams. It could be that your top striker is out of contract in a year's time, and the club are basically saying, we want to sell him on, or we're not giving him that money again, even though the head coach loves him.
Yeah.
So now the striker is at loggerheads with the
board
club
and
the board.
Right.
So now the head coach is trying to get the best out of him, but the striker's head's not in it because he knows that the club are trying to sell me, and this has happened numerous times. So for sure you can like the head coach. We had it at West Brom for a bit as well. A lot of the players were due new contracts going up to the Premier League. They know that the head coach had done a good job with them, but they were at loggerheads. They were fighting with the board to try and get the bonuses or the contract that was owed to them. So that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. At Villa right now, they're playing okay football under Dean Smith, of
They've been
course.
playing really well.
And they've, as far as a promotion club, I'm sure as a Villa fan, you're really happy right now under Dean Smith. Do you trust Dean Smith as the manager? Or because often you see a team coming from the Championship and they do pretty well for the first few months, and then the reality sets in, and then before you know it, they've got a new manager. Dean Smith the man?
I'm a bit nervous about Dean Smith. I mean, he doesn't have the Premier League experience, obviously, that in the past a club like Villa always looked for. They were in a completely different situation when they found him. They were desperate when they found him. I think he proved to be the right man to galvanize the team to bring them up. And I think that, he's cutting his teeth in the Prem, I think he's done a pretty decent job. You look at, how close they've come to beating the big teams and how close they came to beating Tottenham, how close they came to beating Arsenal. Was Liverpool, they'd had the lead against Liverpool as well. So just to be in those matches, it's not something that previous Villa teams and a few managers, they went through a lot of managers, Villa, would have been able to do and get in that situation. So I think Villa's in a pretty decent spot. I'd still like to see them get a few more points and to get farther away from the relegation zone. But your question about not playing for the manager, still playing and not wanting to win for the manager, got me thinking about Jose's last stint at Chelsea and how they were flirting with a relegation zone and they looked so poor.
Yeah.
And then the second he gets sacked, all of a sudden they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think they had, in the second half of the season, they probably had the best record. They vaulted up the table. And you, from the outside, you looked at it and think, were they colluding? Were they throwing games? They really hated this guy that much? Because it was night and day.
Tools, yeah.
It was the same players, but it was completely different, two completely different teams.
Player power.
Well, look at the Maple Leafs right now. I love making those hockey, soccer
Cross references
here, but I look at the Leafs so similar to as Spurs, in that this young team that looked pretty good the last 2 or 3 years. Really, these young players growing into themselves, very exciting to watch. But something happened with two very good managers, be it Poch or be it Babcock, from the Leafs standpoint. Something happened. They fire those managers, and then we'll see what happens at United. They looked okay in the weekend, and obviously 2 games in the Sheldon Keefe, exciting, but they look like a rejuvenated team. They're happy. They're smiling. There's more energy on the bench.
Yeah.
So just that energy change can cause so much, I suppose, and that freshness coming in with a new coach.
And sometimes clubs have to make that really difficult decision. Sometimes it's a very risky decision as well, because you have such a experienced, well-liked head coach, whether it be by the media, whether it be by the league, but something is not right in the locker room. And that was evident with the Maple Leafs. I don't watch a lot of hockey, but it was pretty evident. They have a very young team, and maybe just like Sir Alex back in the day, and even we're talking about Marco Silva, these head coaches are stuck in their ways a little bit, and the younger generation don't gravitate towards their discipline rules or the way they play, and they're not allowed to express themselves as much as we'd like to see. And then maybe the new head coach coming in, I think he worked with the Marlies as well for a long time.
He's
and
been there
it's pretty successful.
He knows a lot of those
So
players.
he's probably worked with a lot of those guys, and they feel that they have a little bit more freedom with him. But as we know, in all kinds of sports, you have that little bump. It's about that consistency now after Christmas. Are we going to be talking about the Leafs? Are we going to be talking about Spurs still winning games? Or are they going to go back to where they were with Poch or where they were with Babcock a month ago?
Well, it's funny because the Leafs let go the old veteran, surly guy, right? And they bring in this young, sexy
Progressive.
coach, right? And you look at Spurs, the complete opposite.
Done the opposite.
Right? They fire the surly, bitter guy.
I'm
Bring him in, and fire the new guy, right? So it's fascinating.
I'm really excited to see what Jose can do at Spurs, because I think had accepted that he couldn't adapt, that he couldn't change, and it was sad because he's been a phenomenal manager. Obviously, from our perspective in the media, you love having him around in a country where English is the #1 language, because you love having those sound bites available.
He loves the Premier League as well, doesn't he?
He does love the Premier.
He loves London as well. Right?
Walking around in his Spurs tracksuit in Knightsbridge.
It looks a little weird, though, though to you? I mean, nothing against Spurs. They're a big club, right?
Sure, yeah.
It looks weird though seeing Jose
does,
Mourinho, doesn't it, on the
That
sidelines?
purple doesn't suit him.
It doesn't, and also because it's old.
Only suits
Jose.
Dunlop. He's the one guy that could carry it off, probably.
Purple?
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost have as many gray hairs as Jose, who I think now that he's at Tottenham and he's changed his perspective on life and coaching, it seems, maybe he won't accumulate any more grays.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he'll do the opposite.
But I think it's weird because he looks old. That to me, I didn't really notice before. You kind of see it him age, and I guess being manager of Manchester United is kind of like being the president, where you age faster.
Yes.
So maybe that was the case.
Unless
but-
you're Trump, he actually looks younger. He's a lot more collagen and Botox and hair dye. So right now, you've got some pretty good managers available. You got Poch, you got Max Allegri, Rafa Benitez,
Yeah.
David Moyes, who actually Steve's laughing there.
No.
But the big rumor is he's going back to Everton, right?
Which
That's
I think
a
would
huge
be
rumor this morning.
I think that would be great.
But
Honestly.
who would you pick if you had? Forget what team it is. You had all these options of managers available right now. Who would you pick right now to manage your football team?
Now, this is being Villa, or this is being my
just
collection
a
of all
team available, and you got some big name guys sitting there.
You can't say that. It depends on what club you're talking about.
Be
Poch
more
would be
specific,
successful.
Charms.
Why-
God,
why-
you got
why
lazy
you-
since you've been on
But
TV.
Poch would be, I think, no matter where Poch goes, to be
Because
successful.
Poch is not going to go to Everton.
No, forget that. I'm not saying where he might go, but who's the best available manager right now? That's what I'm saying. You got Rafa, you got Poch, you got Allegri, you got very different managers, right? Who preach different styles of football, all with great success. Who are you going with?
Danny thinks like such a manager now that he can't like remove himself from that. But it's like take the best
Makes no
striker,
sense, Shaman.
the best striker in the world that you could build your team around.
Or it depends on who the midfielders are.
If you
No,
think
just
think of
pick
it
one.
that way. I've got mine is clear cut. You want to think for a second?
If it's for a club that playing in the Premier League that are willing to spend money, it's Poch.
Yeah.
100%.
Really, more than Allegri?
Yes. Allegri's not proven in the Premier League.
No,
And
just 4 Serie A titles.
I know, but that's
whatever
at
it is.
Juve. You could
Yeah.
have gone into Juve and won that.
Asterisks.
Probably not, actually. I would have turned the room against
Serie
the
A,
titles.
Serie A is so poor.
Could you imagine, Charms? I mean, if you struggle to order water in Toronto, how would you get by in Torino?
Agua.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's easier, actually. Agua.
Be only drinking
I've been to Italy.
espresso.
It's no problem at all. I get my old book out. The old app on my phone. No problem at all.
Per favore.
That's Spanish.
4 syllables for
No,
every...
you just throw the at the end of it.
You're the Italian one here.
I really enjoyed the Lecce story the other day. By the way, I was thinking about that when Lecce nicked the draw off of Juve. I said that's
Yeah.
a story I want to hear. How the hell did you end up there?
I've got many Lecce stories that are going to come out through the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Through the
Unbelievable.
year?
Through the year of podcasts, yeah.
Oh.
The best
Okay.
part for me, that whole story, was that you were signed by Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Yeah.
That's a cool story. And then by the time you got there, he'd left.
Yeah. So that made it uncool.
Great
so
strip though.
he's got Poch.
Yeah.
He's got Poch as he's the guy. Who would you?
Yeah, I was going to say Poch as well. I mean, to go the example that I gave Dickie of, just think of it as simple as the absolute best person at that position, regardless of your circumstances. In the Premier League, with the experience that he's had, first at Southampton and then at Tottenham, well, how could you not take Pochettino? The real
Why
question.
not Rafa?
Well, because I think that Rafa just is older. He hasn't, had the experience recently of success with big time players at a big time club.
I think
And
John Joe
that
Shelby
makes it-
might disagree.
I wouldn't question John Joe Shelby because I'm afraid of Voldemort. I wouldn't want to test him.
But you see, we're talking about a top club there. If we're, and no disrespect to Everton, if we're talking about Everton, then I would go for Eddie Howe at Bournemouth.
That's
I'd
a
say,
great call.
Let's bring in this boy who's been touted around for a long time to go to a big club, Arsenal, even Spurs for a degree. And I'd say, okay, let's give him the chance. Why do we keep going abroad to find these foreign coaches? Let's give it to a young English guy, give him time. 3 or 4 years, set his philosophy, his style of play. He plays a lot of his youngsters, bring them through as well, and he has a fantastic, clear style of play, which is pleasing on the eye.
What more can he do, Eddie Howe, really, at Bournemouth? Right? I mean, they play a lovely style of football, like you said. You're seeing the young guys coming up. The players love playing for him. He's been there for a number of years now.
Yep.
He hasn't hit that bump just yet. But he must also have a lot of loyalty to a club as well. A lot of love for Bournemouth, which
Sure.
it wouldn't be. So you're going to leave Bournemouth where you're comfortable. Your family's down there. You love the club. You've got a good, young, dynamic team that can do some good things, but perhaps not win a trophy. And go to Everton that looks unbalanced, has it seems quite a ruthless ownership group right now, a fan base that are pissed off at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you leave that comfort of?
Well, he had
Bournemouth?
the experience already of going to Burnley for a year, and he departed Burnley on not very good terms, whether it's for personal reasons, family reasons, and he returned to Bournemouth. But this is a guy that finished playing and coached Bournemouth when they were literally games from going out of the league. Saved them in the bottom division, got them promoted throughout the divisions, and he's now coaching them in the Premier League. So talk about loyalty, talk about a player that is Mr. Bournemouth or whatever club you're so loyal and experienced